Yeah. All right, folks, we are live for photo critique number 195. The topic was birds. Troy Miller and I are just here shooting the breeze and catching up real quick before we start the critique. And Troy's telling me about how he is in the middle of a repair project on his car, one of his trucks in the garage. And I was about to tell him before we started recording. So I think the reason why I feel like, or I think I don't like working on cars or getting underneath them like that versus paying the mechanic or whatever, is I never had a proper space to do that. And I never had
Oh,
all the proper tools to do that. So it was always, you imagine how frustrating it is trying to fix something and you're trying to get a bolt off with a pair of pliers or something, right? And then
no.
you
You
strip
have
the
to,
bolt. Now you got to go get another, it was all that. So yeah,
it's different when you're. So the vehicle he's talking about is I've got a 1974 Dodge Power Wagon. So it's an older truck. So it's a classic truck, and so I'm doing some wrenching on that. And you have to imagine, right? Like you're in the garage, you got giant workbench, all the tools. You've got your beverage of choice, whether it's iced tea or a beer, whatever you want to have,
yeah,
and I've got some Aussie playing in the background, and it's like a puzzle, right? It's like a chess
yeah.
puzzle. You're like, if I run that line over there and I connect it to here, how do I get it through the firewall? Like, okay, I got to get it through the firewall and I got to get it over to the fuel pump. And you're like, okay, I'll figure this out. Like, I got to build a bracket and I've got to, and that's
Yeah.
super fun. I just think that that's super fun,
The
and
other side of that though, Troy, is you grew up in the Midwest, right? So doing all that in a cold garage is not funny.
no, I didn't grow up in the Midwest. That's where my family's from. I grew up in
Oh.
Orange County. So
Oh, so you don't know.
no, no, I really don't.
Yeah, try working on a car in a sloped driveway in winter. Try
No,
to
my
fix
family
something.
likes to remind me that I have California blood, not Midwest blood. Like I
Oh
can't
my god.
handle the cold. Yeah,
Yeah, no, yeah, as well. You shouldn't. No one should have to.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So
Well,
it's all good
cool.
stuff.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, good luck with that. Get it fixed. Get it done. Hey, folks, I was telling Troy before we started recording, instead of putting all that sweat equity into that truck, he should just go buy a new Silverado electric or an electric Ford F-150 or an electric Hummer, something like that, instead of getting that old gas guzzling, machine up and running. Get a new droid, man. Come on.
Hey, so I gotta defend the old gas guzzler because everybody like looks at that truck and says, "Oh, that thing just eats fuel." I get 15 miles to the gallon in the city on this truck. You go buy a brand new any truck, you're lucky to get 15 in the city. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not it's not so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I'm just giving you crap. Just giving you
I
crap.
don't care.
You're the muscle
And I
car
drive
guy
it.
anyway. You need that truck that can eat Priuses for breakfast.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing better than smelling that truck fire up and just it's so good.
And your neighbors and
Aromatherapy.
feeling the pain of your neighbors getting frustrated as their pictures vibrate off the wall.
No, it's not that bad.
Not
It's
quite
not
yet.
that bad. I wish it was, but
You
it's
gotta work
not.
on that. You gotta work on it. All right, cool, man. Well, let's dive into this week's critique. It's Boyd's, all about birds, as selected by you, I believe.
Well,
Or no,
it was
it was a group, right?
it was a suggestion as I'm and just now getting ready to type into the chat. We need topic suggestions.
For the next one. Yes, for the next one.
Yep.
All right, while you're doing that, I'm gonna bring up the community. Here we
Yay.
are. Yay, hey, community. So let's go into events. I believe I put this in events. Boyd's.
Oh, is that where it's at? I wanted her critiques. Is that
Oh,
under events?
did I not put it in critiques? I have no idea how to. I have no idea how to operate this website. Who built this?
Oh my
Who
god.
built this crap? All right, here we are. All
Uh,
right. First one up is I didn't know what to think of this one when I first saw it. You know what I thought of this one? This is from Peter Levshin. When I first saw this shot, you know what I thought? I was like,
I can't.
it, I didn't see the beak. My brain didn't put it together what it was initially, and I thought it was an aerial shot of some sort because I had just finished interviewing Tony Hewitt, who does a lot of aerial
Oh
shots
wow.
that look like real thing or non-aerial shots, and this looked like one of those shots. I was like, where is this? And then it's a bird. So
Yeah. Yeah.
what
Yeah,
do you think?
it's a really cool. It's a really cool shot. I really like this. I'm looking at that face, and not being a bird expert of any kind, I'm wondering if the face is supposed to be devoid of feathers and only have the little bit of feathers like around the eye, or is this like an aged bird that's lost feathers? Like I'm wondering. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, like compositionally, I love how tight this is. I love the mystery of it, the sort of the abstractness. I wish that the eye was placed like a little bit more on thirds. So like maybe the top left third, so just like changing that crop a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Having
Mm-hmm.
the eye like top center with this nothingness in the bottom center, right? Like it's not like there's anything there. So the composition doesn't need to be that way. So
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I was going to say that too. It just feels like that. It feel. Oops. There we go. It feels like the eye should be like almost right on that intersection of the rule of thirds. And then maybe I don't know. Maybe yeah. I'm looking at this and I like the texture of it, and I want to know it's a bird, right? So I think this is probably about as far cropped in as you could get without losing that and going full abstract. But the crop, shifting down, provided there's pixels up there, shifting that eye down to that top left third intersection, I think would like just something about putting it right there would add to the picture.
yeah, yeah. No, I dig it. I mean, even if you crop the bottom off and made it square, I think you might be helping. I don't necessarily want to crop off the beak though, so I do like that. So really what I'm thinking is if there's enough data, if there's enough pixels in this frame, is to rotate it counterclockwise slightly and move the framing so the eye is in the left upper left
Oh,
corner in the left third, right?
yeah, right here,
And
right?
that would fill yeah, and that would fill the frame so you wouldn't have that negative space at the bottom, and it would give us a nice tighter image.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, cool shot though. Good job, Peter.
Good job. Next time, shoot it in infrared, Peter.
Yeah, what would this shot look like in infrared? Do you think?
It, it it
Depending on
really
the
did.
light that's falling on it, right? I mean, if he shot this in a zoo, in infrared, indoors, inside the bird sanctuary
Yeah,
versus
mud.
under sunlight, right? It's going to be different.
Right, definitely. And infrared does a really good job on feathers. It because it reflects out of the certain feathers, and then deeper feathers it doesn't. So it can create this really amazing contrast within the plumage, if you
Mm-hmm.
will.
Yeah. Cool. 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 All right. Up next is Michael Brown. Get that little guy. Let's take a look.
Michael Brown.
You get that little person right there hanging on that branch.
I know. I know. I love it. Um, not being super familiar with this particular bird, the overall image feels a little cold to me, and I'm
Mm.
wondering if that's just the color this bird's supposed to be. But I still think that some of the lighting in there, even the green, seems to be a little bit on the blue side, the little cyan side. So um, check that color balance there. But it's also slightly hot, especially on that twig. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm a
Yeah.
real stickler when it comes to looking at like exposure values on things in the frame because it draws your eyes away, whether it does it in the primary sense when you look at it or in the secondary sense as you wander around the image. You really don't want your viewer spending time looking at anything that isn't absolutely essential in your
Right.
image.
Right. Yeah, it's the story. Yeah. Yeah, I I didn't see the highlight or the clipping of the highlights didn't really bother me on this one, but I do agree with it being like a hair cyan or cold, right? So yeah, maybe just a tick to the right on that yellow would add a little bit more oomph into it. The other thing was the beak, the bird's proximity to this background piece right here is a little takes
Yeah.
me out a little bit. So, and this might be I don't know if this branch here is relatively easy to remove, but without it, I think it'd be more. My focus would be more on the bird here. I don't mind it back here behind the tail feathers, but right here it feels just a little bit too close to our subject. I'm curious what you think about the crop. Are you happy with the crop?
I do like the crop. I mean, I think the square crop is really nice, and I think that it serves this particular image well. Um, I agree with that twig being taken out. I don't think that needs to be there. And I know that when you photograph birds in some of this type of environment, it can be really challenging to find a clean background. So depending on what you're doing with the image, obviously, but ideally is to remove that. And then I would also point out that there are some, it looks like some Photoshop telltale signs going on, like maybe some things were cloned out before. You've got some areas like behind and under the bird, you've got grain in the background, but then immediately it falls off and goes really smooth. So I don't
Where
know
are we
what's
looking at? Back here,
below the bird,
below the
right
bird?
down, right
Like,
in that area. Yeah, there's
oh, here.
texture in there. Yeah, there's like a grain or a texture going on in there, but then it immediately falls off. Um, so it's kind of weird. It's like there was some noise reduction that was happening on the image, which is great, but then it didn't apply there or something.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I know that's being, nitpickery, but if you were to take this image and you were to display it or sell it or blow it up, you see those things right away. So
Yeah. Yeah, when if you were to take this one and blow it up competition size, provided all the pixels were there, you'd see all those little pieces, right?
yep.
You know that
Oh yeah.
that's interesting though. That begs the question. Yeah, you'd see those if you blew it up, but what if the intent of this shot was to never blow it up? Like
Then
should the photographer be meticulous and create an image in post that could be printed? In other words, should they always reach for, okay, this may be printed someday, so it must be perfect, even though I know it's probably only ever going to be seen on Instagram?
that's a broad question, and I'll tell
Mm-hmm.
you just from experience that I wish that every image that I had ever prepped for social media that I had actually prepped for print, because when I go back and I want to print it, it sucks having to re-edit that image. Um, so my philosophy now is that I always edit an image to its largest, highest resolution, and then I down res it for whatever I want to use it for, so that if I ever have to go back or if I ever have to need it again, then I can just print it. Um, a real world example is, we're doing some work in the house and I'm going to put up some black and white images in one of the hallways. And these images I never process for printing. I process them to like share on social media and to use in demos and things. And I go back and I'm like, I can't print that. So
Yeah, yeah, I know, right?
plus I think
So,
it's a plus I think it's a good skill to be able to get an image prepped for print in the same amount of time that you're doing it now, maybe for not, right? Like
right.
increase your skill set and get better, and then learn to see things and then learn to fix them quickly, learn to fix them in the field, right? Like when you're shooting. So they're ready for print when you're ready to go. So
Right. Right. Yeah, yeah, always. I don't know. I mean, it's like when I look at this stuff, I always want to ask everyone this question. Like, are you retouching this specifically for the destination? Even if it's the lowest common denominator of where this could potentially be going, or do you have just a set personal standard that everything gets retouched to regardless of where it's going? So it's going to be the best version of that shot that you could produce with your current skills,
right.
regardless of if it's going to be printed as a wallet size print or a billboard, right? So I wonder.
Right. I should qualify though, is that I sort my images into different quality levels, and I use stars for that. So
Yeah.
when I go and do a shoot, or I go and I look at an image and I'm like, oh, this is a portfolio level image. That's the image that I edit to print. All the other images I just play with. If I'm gonna take an image and I'm like, I love this image, I want to finish it. That's a 5-star print for me. That's like a portfolio print. I'm gonna finish it, and I organize my files that way. I don't do that with every image that I decide to keep, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Food for thought. Thank you, Michael Brown, for this cool shot. All right. And coming up next, Craig Stanfley. He says 2 out of 3 didn't get the joke. This guy.
His titles, I swear.
I love it. You got to read Craig Stanfley's titles with an Australian accent, or else it doesn't work. You gotta do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he is a semi-professional tattoo artist, so you got to give him that.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I I love the composition of this. I think that it's really great. I even like the negative space that's going on in the upper quadrant of the image. I like the fact the horizon is not dead center. We have a little heavier sky and a little bit less heavy water. The image feels blotchy to me though, and I don't know if it's an effect or if it was just the way that it was processed. Maybe there was a lot of noise and you ran a really heavy noise filter on it
Mm-hmm.
and then tried to resharpen it, because that'll tear an image apart.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. I was wondering, I get lost. I love the concept of the shot, right? The concept of the shot is, if I could put the camera right there. Yeah, so the concept of the shot, I love the crop of the shot, the square. I love the processing, but that feels like there's a layer of gauze or something on the top. You can see it especially in the sky up
Yeah.
here, and I don't know what that's from, and it's taking me out of the shot. I mean, it may have been a creative decision. I'm 99% sure it was a creative decision, but it feels like it's drawing me away from these pelicans in there, which is the whole topic. Other than that, right? So if it was processed differently, I don't think that would distract us. I like the birds. I like the whole concept of birds in water in mist. It's kind of mysterious like that.
Right.
But we lose something when there's detail up there, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that the problem with the pattern, or that texture that we're seeing, is that it's a repetitive pattern. It's not like an organic, irregular pattern that you
Mm-hmm.
would normally find. So if you were to look at like an old piece of paper, or an old degrading image, and you kind of want that vibe, it's an irregular pattern, and this is a repetitive pattern, which makes me think that this had a lot of noise and noise reduction was run on it, because that tends to create that clumpy look. But whatever it is, um, it's taking both of us out of the image, right?
Yeah.
And so be aware of that, whether that's your intent or not.
Yeah. No, for sure. Cool. All right, Craig Stanfley. Thank you for that. And then next up is Raphael Swift. He says, after much debate, I've decided the earlier bird is the word. All right. I love
Oh,
these colors.
well, right away I want to crop it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I want to crop the tree off. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think we need the tree.
Yeah, it's
And
heavy.
then we got that foreground branch that we need to darken. But yeah, because once we crop that, oh, you put me on.
Of course I did.
Hey, it works, man. Um, yeah, I might lean into like a more tight square or something like that. Love the colors though, like you said. I think that the color harmony in this is really great.
Yeah. Right? Nature has a way with colors. Like what's it she knows what she's doing with those colors. Look at that. It's perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the cropping. Yeah, I agree with that one. If you were to crop this one sort of squarish around in this area, because I think if you cropped and left this branch structure, and now these are going to be sort of drawing you out of the scene when we really want to see this guy and those great colors of what he chose to wear today. But if if we cropped, if it's possible to crop so that you're just having this branch in there, then I don't know. But then you're kind of be shifted off to the right there because you got all this dead space in the upper right, and
Right.
so our subject is going to be lean or heavy on the left side of the frame if you crop it like that. So yeah, so
Well,
maybe you have no choice but leave the branch structure in there.
yeah, and this is our challenge, right? Like when you're in the field, you may see this image post processed, right? And you may think to yourself, well, I'm going to crop that. I need to crop that tree out or whatever. And oh, there's not enough room now behind the bird, which means you may change your composition quickly, right?
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
thinking about those things while you're shooting, as well as how you look at them in post, can make a huge difference. I'm a huge fan of the fact that post is half of my creative process. I fully expect to finalize my image in post. I'm not going to get it all in camera, when it comes to some of this stuff. So
Yeah, yeah, and that's heresy to some photographers, right? Especially film photographers.
yeah, whatever. I've been there.
You've had that fight.
I did it in film too, right? I shot film for 15 years, and
Yeah,
not just any film. I shot expensive film, but the
yeah,
point
yeah,
is now with digital, we do have the option of doing more work in post, and I think that becomes part of our workflow. So
yeah. I like the shot though. Very cool.
yeah, it's a fun shot. Yeah, good job.
Yep. All right. Up next is Stephen Scharf. Stephen says, "Great Egret, Berkeley Aquatic Park." Yeah, these guys.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
They're
clean.
so majestic.
Right?
Yeah, they always look like they're judging you. they're
Yeah,
I just
he's saying, "Really? You really wore that shirt?"
I could just see some future dystopian society that's run by birds, and you walk into court and this is the judge, like this is the guy way up on that pedestal, right? Like for
Guilty.
you. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Next. Yeah.
Exactly. Um I really dig the shot. I really do. I think that it's a really wonderful, and I like the fact that there's just enough reflection in the background, to give us a sense of some depth. Oftentimes, I see images of these birds where the photographer has gone and just blacked out the background, and I really really dislike those because one, it's almost never in nature that way. They're almost always surrounded by water and reflections and things like that, and two, it just it feels contrived. So this is nice. I love the fact that we can kind of see that. The highlights to me, the way that I'm looking at them, there are some highlights that are blown out, but that's probably not the way that it is for Steven on his computer. So
Yeah.
it's not coming. It's probably not coming through to him, but we also have to edit and be aware of what our media is, and so if it matters, we might have to fix it accordingly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the issue, right? Or one of the issues with I mean, living in a world where your images may be you're not sure where they're going to be displayed, right?
Right.
In the world of, okay, I'm just going to print this perfectly and display it in a gallery. I'm picking the bulbs that this thing is going to be shown, underneath. I'm going to pick the color of the wall and all that. You can control the environment completely. But in this world, it could be shown on any number of devices, and look different on all of them. So it's almost we have to play to the lowest common denominator sometime.
You do, and kind of back to how you edit your image. I mean, our good friend Peter Lovshin is displaying at the Pageant of the Masters in
Mm-hmm.
Laguna Beach right now,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got images that you want to share on the website. You've got images that you want to put in social media, and then that very same image you're printing on acrylic or steel at 60 inches, and you're hanging in your booth, and they all have to be edited slightly different because the printed image will look all gray and blocked up for the image that you're putting on social media. And if you only edit for social media, that image that you print will be all blown out. You'll lose highlights, and right. So you have to You have to account for all that.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's deep. It's deep. I love the shot though. This is cool.
I
Yeah,
do. Yeah,
I
it's
could
very
see this
majestic.
printed. I could definitely see this printed large.
Now, for me, I would probably flip this horizontally
Why?
because, well, because the way that the way the bird's facing now, I feel like the bird is looking back, right? Looking sort of at the past or looking back. And I like the idea of the bird looking forward. So if you flip it horizontally, it's going to completely change the mood of this. And I feel like
Huh.
I need some positivity in my day, and I want to see this bird looking forward and hopeful, not looking back introspectively.
Absolutely. Interesting. Yeah, I mean I've considered that, but in this shot I didn't think that, but you're absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
like
it changes.
yeah, looking this way, he's thinking about all the mistakes he's made, right? Over the years. Then flip him and he's thinking about what opportunities lie ahead of me.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of the images that are in here, I'm scrolling back. Like Michael Brown's and Raphael's. The bird is facing to the left. Just for your own experiment, just take an image like that and flip that bird horizontally and see how it makes you feel. That may be a better image for you. You know.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah. We need to do like a gallery show type thing. That would be like a TWiP in-person gallery event.
Oh yeah.
Sorry for the hey, everybody in the chat. Sorry for the dad joke. I could not resist. It Amy Brooks says, "Yeah, those birds always are looking at the past," and I said, "Yeah, they have a foul outlook." So hey, that's a dad joke. Come on. Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
saying anything. I'm not saying
You just
anything.
you just said you didn't
Yeah.
think of it first. That's what it is.
I can't type that fast. That's the problem. I think of
Yeah.
things, you can't type them.
It's like, damn it, you got it out.
Yeah.
All right. Nora Zanotness is here with incoming. Oh my god. See, Nora just shows up with her Thor's hammer all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
With her
Yeah.
superhero Thor's hammer landing.
Yeah. Hashtag Nora mic drop. That's what it
Right.
is.
Exactly. Exactly. That's
Oh
right.
my goodness.
Look at this thing. This
Uh,
is great.
yeah, this is really amazing. I think this is really wonderful. The timing, the peak moment of action, I think is absolutely superb. Even if you're shooting, at 10 or 20 frames a second, you're just holding the button down. It's still a great moment, right? So I love that. I think it's just so wonderful. I I do wish that we had a little bit more room in sort of the lower quadrant, right? We have plenty of room, I think, on the left, but I think the bottom is a little bit tight, and I
Mhm.
really wish there was more space for Sam. I'm naming this Eagle Sam for Sam to fly into.
Yeah. 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 I can see that. I was gonna say more space on this side over here, just a little bit. Yeah, I like the space because he's
Right,
coming in, right?
right,
Um, but just maybe a hair more space, maybe even the same amount of space from this talon to the bottom of the frame, from this
right.
edge feather to the edge. Just very little. Other than that, yeah, no, it's great. So on this one though, like the Sam is coming in from left or from right to left. Does if you flipped it, would it change your sort of feeling about this photo?
Absolutely. Yeah, it absolutely would change your feeling about this photo. And I think that that's one of the things that we have to understand is that the way that we see these images, the way that they flow through the frame, the leading lines, where our eyes are drawn, has a moodful impact, especially that very very first look.
Yep.
So take these images and flip them and see what you think. Um, the only other, well, the other praise I want to give this one is the talons are tack sharp, the beak is tack sharp. I do wish that we had a little bit more sharpness in the wings because it doesn't look like it's motion. Well, maybe and the tip is a little bit of motion blur, but
Hmm.
um, if I was judging this for a competition, I might be a little picky that the wings weren't tack, but I can't do it, so I can't be too picky.
Would a shot like this merit in competition?
Oh yeah, a shot like this would definitely merit. Probably not a high merit, maybe between 80, 83 kind of thing. Like it's definitely deserving of a merit. The highlights on the tips of the wings need to be toned down, kind of blended in a little bit, and the highlight on the top of the head definitely needs to come down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
Very
it
cool.
looks like you're getting some wonderful reflection, reflected light or something is coming up under Sam, and that's really nice. Normally that's kind of dark, so.
Yeah.
But I mean, all those things said, it's as Laduna Arena has said, it's an awesome shot.
Yeah. This is awesome. This
Yeah,
is
yeah,
this is stunning. Very cool. All right.
definitely.
Nora, mic drop Xenotinus. Thank you.
uh,
All right. Phil Lewenthal's up. Cliff Swallows.
Phil.
Look at this.
Phil, you should have done a long exposure on this and made it all blurry, and then we would know it was yours.
Exactly. Exactly. He'd need flowing water in here, though.
He'd need flowing water, yeah. It's a it's a neat shot. I think the challenge with this shot is that one, the lighting wasn't in your favor, and two, there's no like core subject. It feels kind of random, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the bottom bird really isn't playing into the scene very well. Like he's showing us his backside and kind of leaving, and the birds at the top are really where the story is. I would want to crop in on the top.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the story, right? It goes back to what is the overall story for this. Let me put that there. Yeah, what's the overall story for this particular frame? And I was thinking about this when I was thinking, well, because someone challenged me during an interview because I was saying something very similar to that about we see a lot of shots and some of them have stories and some of them don't. And this was Tony Hewitt, actually. I interviewed him last week, and he challenged me. He was like, well, sometimes the frame itself is the aesthetic, is the story. It doesn't, in other words, all photos don't need to necessarily have a narrative within them or eye line within them. He was saying sometimes it's the frame itself, and everything is a story. So I looked at this one with those eyes. And I can see, okay, this is a family of these birds out there hanging on the cliff. But to your point on the processing side of it, if there was more separation between the rocks and the bird colors, which obviously is not by design of nature, right? They're designed to blend into those rocks. But if there was more separation between them and I could see them, or if there was one of the birds that was obviously one of the a subject. We've got two birds in flight, and I think at least two, maybe three hanging out down there. If all of them were just sort of hanging out and one was in flight coming in for a landing, to join
Yeah.
the others, maybe that would have added a little bit more of tension or story to it.
Right. And the challenge is within this image is there was something about it that the photographer really liked. That's the narrative. The way that I see it of these images. And that's the story is like, oh, I see something that I like, so I'm going to point my camera at it and I'm going to push the button on purpose.
Yeah.
Is that coming through in this image? And I think that sometimes those things don't translate because the lighting that the camera can pick up, or the direction of lighting, or the depth of field, or the focus, right? Like it may just have been cool watching these birds flutter in and out of there, but I'm not getting that sense. So yeah, so photographically, I think that go back and shoot this location. It's a cool location. It's definitely a cool shot. And think about when the light's going to come in. Let's say this is morning. Maybe sunset is better, so the light comes in from behind or edge lights the birds, and creates a better quality of light.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. But cool. Well, good on you, Phil, for jumping out of your comfort zone.
Definitely.
Look at that. That looks good. Yeah, see, there's one. How many birds in here? One, two, three,
Oh,
four,
there's a
five, six. There's one height. That's six right there? Or is that a rock?
yeah. I think there's one hiding up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Six boids. Cool. All right, Phil, thanks for that. Eric Pronsky's up next. Look at these guys posing, all dressed up.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a recent shot for him from his recent trip. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. At first, and I mean this as a compliment, Eric, at first I thought this was one of Curtis's images. Um, because it has that sort of very simplistic, minimalistic look. I love the fact that you've got three subjects in there, which the three is very balanced and seems very intentional. The angle of view being down low, sort of at the penguin's eye level, I think is really wonderful. The lighting is fantastic. The shallow depth of field, really, really just beautiful. Really well done.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. I have nothing to add to this one. I really I'm a huge fan of, like, I love the symmetry of this. I mean, like, we talk about story all the time. There's story in this, right? With, you can make up whatever. There's a leader of the pack and the two lackeys behind him coming up. The processing, I toyed with. Well, shouldn't this be black and white? No, absolutely not. I need the color in there. I want to see the color of the feet in there. I want to see, as little. It's already monochromatic, right? So the color that is there is more impactful. It sort of pops out. So, and I love the crop of this. I love the shallow depth of field. Make it's almost perfect shallow depth of field for this. It's not too much to make it look like portrait mode fake, and it's not too little that we get distracted by the background. It's just the right amount to make these guys sort of set off from the background. So I like it.
Absolutely, and I think that's that use of depth in this image. We have foreground, we have middle ground, and we have background, and that's just amazing how we've got this nice depth of field that's kind of falling off as we move back. I do think that this image would be spectacular as a black and white. Um, I agree that it's nice to be able to see the pink of the toes and the color inside the wings and stuff, but this really to me screams black and white just because of the shapes that are in there. So it's up to the artist either way, maybe both. Um, but I do love it. I do love it.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. All right, Eric.
Good job, Eric.
Chin strap penguins in Antarctica. Yep. All right. Up next is Amy Brooks. Look at these people. She said, just returned from Scotland. Not so much time to call and process, but had to share these cute little guys. I was about 15 feet away. Amazing experience. All
Oh
right.
wow.
Look at that.
That'd be awesome. I could imagine just sitting there and just photographing these guys for as long as they'd let you. That's such a cool looking scene. Um, I love the fact that there's three in there, and I'm trying to think that maybe the top left could be tighter, right? Like if
Mm-hmm.
you and so here's where my mind is going. Like the two that are down in the lower right hand corner, they're the heroes of the shot,
Mm-hmm.
but they're sort of equal tonality throughout the image, and I feel like maybe burning the background and the left side down a little bit, even cropping it in a little tighter to kind of show that guy in the background is kind of off in the distance,
Yeah.
but not a lot, right? It doesn't need a lot, just to kind of make the two in the front kind of pop. So
I was looking at this and I was thinking, I was torn, right? I'm like, yeah, I like the three in there, but maybe we don't need that guy in the back. Maybe we lose him either through cropping him out of there and just having that blank space up there just to show the environment for these two, or just like content aware fill him out of there, right? Or I don't know, crop it or content aware fill him out of there. Either way, it becomes a story about these two lovebirds in the front, hanging out without the
yeah.
guy photobombing in the back. So
Yeah, you're not wrong. Amy, what I think would be really fun to try with this image is to crop out the guy in the top left hand corner and bring the top down a little bit, and then flip it horizontally and see how that feels.
Yeah.
But I do think bringing attention into the lower right I would try that. I don't know that I would love it, but I would try it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, why not? Try it. There's no words in here. No one's going to know.
No, they're not.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. Amy Brooks coming through. Thank you. Look at that ornate beaks, though. That is crazy.
Oh, I know. Screaming for abstract.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. All right. And I think that's it. Is that everybody? I think I got everybody.
You got to go down and click show more.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Oof.
There's always more.
So hard to use. All right. Up next is Jim Peta's S curve or Y equals. Oh, come on, Jim. Is it a sine wave or an S curve?
Birds. It's just birds.
It's birds in flight. Is it, or is it one bird, or is it multiple birds?
Oh, I don't know. They're all clones anyway. Yeah,
yeah, they are.
They're all clones.
They're all the same being.
I like this a lot. This is one of those kind of images that if I were to go through my set of images and I had something like this, I would just be like, oh, thumbs up, right? Like, good job, Troy. Like, I love this. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you have that subtle sunset with a little bit of the landmass in the back, the shoreline. For me, I would crop off the rocks and have just water.
Oh, interesting.
And I know you've got a bird on the left that you might have to deal with, but I really don't think that the rocks in the foreground are giving you anything. And I think that the water with the landmass and the birds really kind of draw me into the ocean more.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I would take it one step further. I would agree. Crop this off because it's this heavy weight down at the bottom of the frame, pulling me down and away from our magnificent sine wave up here. But I would also, yeah, this is three syllable words. But I would get rid of these other birds down here, just so that at the bottom, like including this guy that's walking, these ones in flight over the water here, I would get rid of them so that we can just focus on this trajectory of birds up there. Right. So again, simplifying the image even further than what you're saying. So get rid of the dark area of rocks in the bottom or foreground, and then nuke out all these birds right here. So you're left with just a few elements: the water, the landmass, the sky, and the swoop of the birds, which very clearly now tells me this is the subject. So.
Right. And as soon as you say that, my brain just kind of like overloads, because cloning anything out against the water texture is a nightmare.
Is it? Yeah. Well.
Unless there's some magic, I'm sure like, a Dennis or Renee or somebody could probably do it properly, but cloning anything out against an unusual texture or an erratic texture like water is really tough. It just leaves her behind so many trails.
Yeah. Someone like Dennis or Renee will say, yeah, all you do is just make a confabulator layer and add some, badonkadonk sauce to it, and that's it.
Badonkadonk sauce? Where does that come from?
I don't know. I got kids, man. I
don't know. Dude, that was great. That was deep.
We'll name this critique the badonkadonk critique. Sorry.
Oh my god.
Hey, you gotta have fun with it, or else what's the point? All right, Jim Peters, sorry for polluting your beautiful S curve image with badonkadonk.
Badonkadonk. I was gonna type that into the chat with an exclamation point, but I don't know how to spell it.
Yeah, well. Just like phonetically. There you go.
I can't do it.
All right, Troy Miller's next. Of course, Troy's in here. Burrowing owl headed back from picking up takeout. Oh yeah, look at that. What is that owl have? What is this? What is this takeout?
That's a Japanese beetle.
Is it? Oh
Yeah,
wow.
and it gives you scale, right? Like these owls are only like 4 inches, 5 inches tall. They're tiny, so tiny,
Wow, I want one.
and they go out and they catch these beetles. It's like the best thing ever to watch. It's so amazing. So,
Hey,
um,
the chat is helping you out with Jim Peter says badonkadonk. There you go. Hey Jim, that shot of you're so serious, right? And with the word badonkadonk next to it, it's just
I think I think Karen got it. I think Karen nailed it with the
Oh,
spelling.
what did Karen say? Oh yeah, here we go. May the badonkadonk be
Yeah.
with you. There you go. Yeah,
Oh my
two
god,
different
forever.
spellings though. Yeah, we still don't know how to spell badonkadonk. So.
Yeah, I know. We'll have to look it up because we'll have to look up the artist and see how he spelled it.
Yeah, I don't know that you want that in your search history. I'm just saying.
I'll do it on
You
I'll do it
don't
on
want
somebody
Google
else's
thinking
account.
that you're interested in badonkadonk. So I
Oh my
guess
god.
Margie's like, what have you been searching for, honey?
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, this is a cool shot. I love this. So what's the story? What'd you shoot this with?
I actually shot this a couple years ago. I don't really shoot birds a lot. And this shoot was one of those things that reminded me just how difficult bird photography is. I was shooting this with a 400 millimeter. I think it was my D5, and I'm out in the field with all these other photographers with like 1200 millimeters, 2000 millimeters. They've got all these like tripods, and I'm like, you guys are nuts. You birders are crazy. It's just a bird. Oh no, no. I took thousands of photographs, and I have like five, and this
Wow.
one is like 20% of the frame I had to crop in because I couldn't get close enough, you know? And
Yeah.
so it's a great shot. It's a fun shot. It's not spectacular. Like it wouldn't print big or anything. But it was one of those shots that I liked. And it always reminded me that, what looks easy oftentimes is not easy. So
Yeah. Yeah, much respect for birders, man, that are out there doing that cuz it does look easy. It's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's all in the gear. Just go buy yourself a good camera, get a long lens and a multiplier or something and, buy some camouflage and go camp out with a beer. That's it.
yeah, and these birds don't fly in sort of a smooth, regular, pattern that you can track. Like they're chasing insects. So, like if you've ever watched, a hummingbird move or a or a bird chase an insect, like they're crazy. They're so erratic. You just there's like 30 photographers out there, and all you can hear is shutters firing.
Mhm. Brrr. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. Hey, but that Z9 of yours this was shot pre Z9, right? Would the
Yep.
Z9 have
Yep.
fared any better with keepers?
I think it would have. I don't know because I've never really photographed challenging bird shots with the Z9, so I don't know.
Yeah.
The focusing speed is better, so even just at the same method or mode, I would think it would do better.
Yeah. I like it. Cool shot. Good job.
It's a fun shot.
All right. Karen Sweeney. Watch the skies, Eurasian Jay indulging in a bit of situational awareness. Yeah. Also known as trying to stay alive from airborne predators.
Wow. I really love these shots
Hmm.
of the birds on the ground. I just think that it's so unique, and it's just so wonderful to see them in this little bit different environment than on the traditional, peg or twig. So kudos to Karen for figuring out a way to get those shots and make that happen. And the light on this is just spectacular. This is really beautiful. Almost studio esque, you know.
Hmm.
So I really appreciate the quality of light, and I get feedback sometimes that I'm too picky when it comes to light. Like, I don't know what it's like to be in the wild. And like, it doesn't matter. Quality of light is appreciated, right?
Yeah.
Just find good light. And so you've done that here. And I think that that's fantastic. So
Yeah, I
I
agree
do
with you
love
on
it.
this one. This one looks almost like a diorama, right? It's so like a
Yeah.
meticulously architected diorama that Karen put together and got everything lined up just perfectly. That bird is taxidermied, right? It's just everything's just perfect. Click, take 1,000 shots. But knowing that it's not, this is actually reality, makes it even more impressive. I love that again, beautiful fall off on that bokeh falling off into the
Yep.
back. It's not abrupt. It's just the right amount. Draws our attention right into the face. Makes us wonder where that bird's looking and why it's looking up there. And I also wonder, which I can tell by the twigs and the leaves on the ground a little bit, but how big this little guy is. So obviously he's probably, you probably fit him in the palm of your hand. But it is cool looking at this, and it's technically, you know, well executed as well. Aside from
Oh, yeah.
artistically and compositionally, it's clean, it's sharp, it's composed correctly. I love the border selection and the colors and all that. It's very nice, very well done.
Yeah, I'm very excited with this image. This is great, and I zoomed in a little bit just to kind of see where that the fall off for the depth of field, so where our focus range is,
Mm-hmm.
and it's perfect. It's really well done. So I don't
Yeah.
know, if you orchestrated that, Karen, or if it just happened to work out that way. But this is really well done. I would say though that I feel like compositionally, like within the frame, I feel like the bird could be a little bit more to the right and up, right? Like we're tight on
Mm.
the bottom, we're tight on the left. I wish that we had some looseness around it. And part of that for me is I am not a fan of zoos and I'm not a fan of like animals in captivity actually, right? So the idea that you put a bird like in this picture frame that's super tight, to me it makes me kind of anxious, and I want the bird to be more free, and I want to see more space around it, right? Like that's its home. I want to see more of its home, and I want to see more of its environment. So I tend to like looser crops and some more space around it. But that's just me. That's just how I look at it.
Yeah, it's subjective. Yeah, but
Right.
still, yeah, valid, very valid. Yeah, you're right on that depth of field though. Yeah, it is perfect. It's if you don't see the actual line of fall off, it's perfectly gradated. It looks like all the way through, increasingly, very nice.
Oh yeah. Oh, Karen says that she used a bit of depth of field blur. Well, if you did, it was good use, right? If you did that
Mm-hmm.
in post, it was very good use, especially in that foreground, right? Because you've got the bird sharp all the way through. So yeah, good use of that tool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm guessing that's an affinity photo, right, Karen? So
Yeah, I
yeah,
think she's working with Affinity. Yeah.
yep, very nice, very nice. All
All
right.
right, Frederick. I think that's our last image. What is your favorite?
Oh, you're gonna try to flip it to me, huh? You wanted to get
See
that
what
in
I
there before I
see
got
what
it
I
in
did?
there. Well done. Well played, sir. Well played. All right. Yeah. I mean, it sounds contrived, but everyone's a winner. All the images were so fantastic, as everyone always says. But I think, if I have to pick, I'd have to pick the eagle because
Nice.
you know, that is just.
Nice.
I mean, it's a bird. It's
It's
in
epic.
flight. It's coming in to get something, obviously, and whatever it's coming to get has almost zero chance of getting away at this point, right?
Yeah.
That is,
Yeah.
yeah. Plus, it's patriotic, For I know, Nora's in Canada, but the eagle, bald eagle, is the symbol
Yep.
of the United States of America, right? So
Yeah.
it's our national bird. So I
Yeah.
like it.
Very
Very
good.
cool. Yep. What do you think? Do you concur with my thoughts, or do you have a different thought?
I do. I do. The tight runner up for me would have been Eric's image
Yeah, I was gonna say
of
that
the
too.
of the big ones. Yeah. Yeah. It was between those two.
Yep,
We
I agree.
really, really all of these images, except for Peter's, were fantastic.
Yeah, except for Peter's, all right? Poor Peter. Peter's a hard working man. You got to put him down. He's doing a gallery show.
I know.
Peter led us just for your, to refresh your memories. This was Peter's. He started us off. Yeah. Nothing wrong with this
Yeah.
shot. It's a good interpretation.
Good job.
Yep. Cool. All right. So as we end this one, next critique thoughts. I see some suggestions in there.
I have an idea. We haven't done this one before. I would like. I'm gonna suggest that we do an image that is. You can help me clarify this. That basically it's an ad, right? Something with some text in it. So build. What would you call it? It's not an ad, but you would build a message or something, right? So take an image and put some text in it. Maybe it could be a poem, it could be a saying, it could be an ad, it could be.
Oh yeah. So create a shot that illustrates an idea, but also have words to go along with the shot in the frame. So you're shooting something specifically with space for text that makes sense for the shot itself, right?
Yeah, so sort of take the image further by adding some text to it, like however you want to do it, right? It could be whatever you want to do. So,
yep, I like it. All right, do we agree with that? I agree with that. That sounds cool. Some of the suggestions that came in the chat for next time or for the next critique were Phil says low angle, so we're putting that on the list. La Duderina says water.
Yep.
Let's see. Amy Brooks says topic idea: try a brand new genre, like she's never done portraits. Yeah. A stretch topic. Good. And
actually, it was Amy's suggestion that got me thinking, because as we were going through some of these images, I'm thinking of like, oh, look at all that headspace, and then Frederick would say, well, that's for the text, and I thought, well, maybe that's good, take one of your images, like tell a message with it or whatever, using that.
I like that. I like where you're going, because that edges closer towards the whole multimediography idea, where you don't have to be stuck with an XY. Okay, I have to tell a story in these pixels. You can tell the story in the pixels and augment those pixels with text, with audio, with video, with selective motion or whatever, right? The story doesn't have to end for that photo, when you export it as a JPEG or whatever. It could be have many different lives.
Right. Yeah, it could have many different lives, and you could do a lot of different things with it. So I think that would be super cool to be able to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll figure out how to put that in words, but that'll generally be the idea. Create a photo, with accompanying text to go along with it, and both of those together become the thing. So then when we do the critique, we're going to see images with your folks. We're going to see your image and with the text that you've overlaid on that image, and they have to, obviously they have to complement each other or somehow illustrate each other. So yeah, that'll be good. I like it.
Yep.
I like it.
Cool,
man. All right, so we're at the top of the hour. We'll leave it right there. Any final thoughts for the TWiP community you want to throw out there before we end it?
Thank you for allowing us to critique your images. We're going on 200 episodes now. Oh. And so I was just thinking of that the other day. I thought, man, how cool it is that I'm still allowed to do this. So
yeah, I was thinking the same thing. How cool it is that I still allow Troy Miller to do this. It's
so great that it was my idea.
So gracious to let you execute your idea all the time.
And I'm still here for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I love it too. This is great. This doing these critiques is a highlight of my week. It's a good way to start the week. So
yeah.
Very cool. All right, folks. Well, thank you everyone who participated in the chat. Please do remember to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, just to help us stay visible and grow the audience. But with that, if you're a TWiP member, keep an eye out in the events area and in the photo critiques area. That's where this next challenge or this next contest or critique, will be posted, and we'll see what you guys come up with. That critique, FYI, will be, we're doing alternate weeks now for these types of critiques. So that one will be on the 1st of August. We'll record that Monday, August 1 at noon Pacific. Keep an eye out for that. And then next week on the 25th at this time, or noon Pacific, we'll do our group photo critique, where it's basically a Zoom call and we all jump in there and show and tell our images and get group peer-to-peer feedback on those. So please, come and hang out in there and share an image or two. Cool. All right, we'll leave it right there. Troy, thank you for jumping in here. Hope you have a good week. Good luck buying that new Ford Lightning F-150 that you're going to go.
Happening.
Oh, he said never. You would never get a Ford Lightning F-150, huh?
No, it's too light duty. I need a heavy duty truck.
So a F1 or F-250.
Well, that would be nice. I got a 25,000 pound trailer I got to tow. So,
wow, get rid of the trailer.
No, gosh, you need to get outside. You need to go outside and touch dirt with your feet.
Yeah. My girls ain't having that. Just say. The closest they would get to that is glamping, right? So it's not. Yeah, where there's a hotel and a bathroom nearby. So
yeah, that's the heavy trailer. Yeah,
well, there you go. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for joining us on this one, and we'll see you inside the community.
Yep.
All right,
take care, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.
All right. Ending.